All right, friends, we are making blue wraps tonight. If you want to get the recipe, the base recipe for this, grab the Vegan Health Bundle. The link is in my bio or in the description box. It's the Everything But the Bagel wrap in my hand salads wrap ebook, which is one of 150 downloads that you get worth over $8,000 for $49. So go grab that if you're interested. We're going to be making these today. I just want to show you the technique. So the recipes are in the book. You got to get the bundle to get the recipes. But I want to show the technique and some really important things about the wraps. Now, I can't fully see everything. The camera's a little bit further away, but if you do have questions, I will try to look and see. But I've got everything laid out right here, and I want to share a few really important things. So we're going to be using Terrasol blue spirulina for this recipe. We're going to be making the blue wraps. The blue wraps aren't in the hand salad ebook, but the Everything But the Bagel recipe is. And all you do is make the Everything But the Bagel recipe and add 2 teaspoons of Terrasol blue spirulina. So we're going to do that right now before I move on to the other things. So what I have in here is a few of the ingredients that I need for the Everything But the Bagel wrap. And I'm just gonna put 2 teaspoons of this blue, so look at how pretty that is. Blue spirulina in here. 2 teaspoons, that's all you need. And one recipe makes 2 wraps. So 2 14 by 14 wraps. So it's really nice because you can have one for right now and one for tomorrow, or you can share with family, friends, loved ones. But here we go. So we've got the blue. Look at that. It's such a pretty blue. In with our wet ingredients for the wrap. And now we're going to talk about the chunky vegetable ingredients. So in the recipe, in all of the recipes in the hand salads book, there are weights. So in the book, it has the ingredient listing and the weight. We really, really recommend that you use the weights because, for this reason right here. 1 big onion for me might not be the same as a big onion for you. So there's a really big difference in onions. And sometimes I get different sized onions as well. Sometimes I get massive ones, sometimes only get the small ones. So when I say 2 onions, for some people that might be 5 little ones. So always go by the weight because the weight is going to give you the best, most uniform result. And I recommend doing that by getting yourself a scale. So we have this food scale, and I'm just gonna show for comparison the difference between a large onion, which is, this one is 589 grams. It's a big onion. This one, however, is only 198. So you would really need to have multiple of these ones, and you don't want to weigh it before you chop. You want to weigh it out when it's chopped up like this, because this is what's going in the blender. You're not going to be putting, the outside parts or the ends or whatever in there. You want to weigh it out after you've chopped it up. So what I like to do is I like to put the bowl on the scale and then tear it out, which puts the scale at 0. And then you can just put everything into the bowl. You don't have to kind of like maneuver it around the scale, trying to get everything on the scale. You just put it in the bowl and it'll weigh it out perfectly for you. So once you have all the ingredients weighed out and ready to go, what I like to do is I like to chop all the ingredients first, especially if I'm making 2, 3, or 4 batches. Then I just have different bowls. Like I'll have bowl for batch 1, bowl for batch 2, but I do all the chopping first, and then all I have to do is blend, pour, blend, pour, blend, pour. It's a lot easier that way. So I've got all the wet ingredients in here. Look at that pretty blue. These are gonna be some fun wraps. Then I just put all of the ingredients into this blender. Now, this blender is a 64-ounce one, and it's gonna fill it up all the way to the top. Now, some people say like, I can't fit everything into the blender. I'm gonna show you a trick for that. So say you're putting everything in and all of a sudden it's right up to the top and you can't get the rest of the ingredients in. Just blend it a little bit and blend it down. So we're gonna do that right here. I need a lid, give me 1 second. Can't do this without a lid. Okay, so just gonna blend this a little bit. And as you see, it blended down just enough for me to get the rest of the stuff in here. So I'm gonna put all of this in to our blender. And there we go. All right. Now, this is a very, 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 very important part. You do not want to put the psyllium and the chia or flax in with this before you blend it. You want to blend all of this really well first and then add the chia and psyllium powder after, and only pulse it in for like 3 seconds-ish. You don't need to blend it for a really long time. You just want to mix it in there. The longer you blend it, the more chances your wraps have of cracking or looking like a dry lake bed after they've been dried. Because what happens is the longer you blend the psyllium, the more gel-like it gets and it can clump together and separate during dehydration. So we don't want that. So what we want to do is blend it all first. So that's what we're going to do right now. Just going to blend it all really nice here. All right, so it's like a giant savory blue smoothie. So this is what it looks like. I don't think you can see very well, but there we go. And it's a lot more blue in real life than it is on the screen. It's really interesting to see, but it's like super, super bright blue, kind of like how it was before. Now we add the psyllium and the chia. Actually, I'm doing flax with this one. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna pulse it in, and sometimes it doesn't pull it all the way in. So I'll pulse for like 1 or 2 seconds and then let the bubble pop, and then I'll blend it again for another second or so. So let's try that here. So basically, blend it like that, and then sometimes I let it bubble up, and then I do it one more time. And that's really all you need to do. You don't need to blend it long, otherwise you're gonna get cracking. So next step, we have our trays. So this wrap recipe makes 2 14 by 14 silicone trays. If you want the link for these trays, the link is inside my hand salads ebook. You can also send me a DM and I will be happy to send you the link to these specific trays. If you have a smaller dehydrator, you're gonna need to get the smaller trays. They have the 14 by 14 and they also have the 10 by 12. So someone saying, the raw wraps are so incredibly delicious. Thank you. Yes, they are. And I hope so many other people enjoy them too. Grab the bundle because you get the wrap recipes in this bundle along with so many other things. Nate and I have contributed almost $700 worth of content, including our live lunch, where you get to watch us make the wraps. There's 2 wrap recipes in a live lunch that are not in the wrap book. They were made special for a live lunch. There's a Napa Doodle Burberry wrap, and there's a barbecue mushroom strip wrap in there too. So there's some special wraps in there that were made special just for a live lunch, and you can get a live lunch, which is 35 hours worth of video content for you to watch. There's 21 recipes in there. We make the tacos, the burgers, the sushi. We're gonna be making sushi tomorrow too. I'm gonna teach you how to wet chop. That's gonna be really fun tomorrow. I got the bundle this evening. Excellent. I hope you enjoy all the goodies. So we're going to spread this evenly over 2 trays. Now, if you have the 10 by 12, One wrap recipe makes 3 wraps instead of 2. It's the exact square inchage of 2 compared to 3 of the smaller trays. So you can weigh out this if you want to get really, precise with it. But I mean, I've made like probably 500 wraps by now. I kind of eyeball it. I just kind of see what it looks like, and I'm like, oh yeah, that looks even or split in 2. So I'm just gonna pour that onto our tray here. Making some blue wraps. I'm excited to eat these. We're gonna fill these tomorrow with vegetables, and we're going to eat them tomorrow. So if you want to watch the filling of those, please do so. Please join us tomorrow night. We're going to be wrapping these up to eat. So there we go. One thing that I'm really noticing right now is that there's a lot of onion going on. There's 2 tricks that you can do that can help with the onion crying. One of them is there's actually 3 tips, and I'm sure people have other tips out there as well. There's 3 tips that I want to share. Number 1, when you're chopping the onions, you can put them in a bowl of water while you're like doing other stuff or whatever, and just let them sit in the water before you add them to the blender, because that can help inactivate some of the enzyme. The enzyme is attracted to moisture. And guess what's moist? Here, my eyes are moist. So the enzyme is attracted to that. So one tip that I have, and that I didn't do that I should have, is to have a big bowl of water. Like, we're talking a big bowl of water. Just fill it with tap water or whatever. Just set it on the side so that the enzyme is attracted to that moisture instead of this moisture. And that really is really helpful, especially while it's dehydrating. Another great tip, the 3rd tip, would be to light candles. So the sulfur from the match, another thing too, like you could just light a match and just kind of like move it over and around, but I like the candle idea because it's easier. But when you light the match, that sulfur can actually help to inactivate the enzyme as well. So those are some tips. I'm sure there's other tips out there. If anyone wants to share, you're more than welcome to. But this is my favorite part of the entire process, is actually spreading the wrap. And I highly recommend you get an offset spatula. This is called an offset spatula, and I have a link in my ebook for the one that we have here. This is a 13-inch offset spatula. They're used to like do cake decorating and other things like that, but they are so helpful to get a really nice even spread. If you have areas that are a little bit like thinner than other areas, then you can experience thinness and cracking in your wraps. So it's really important to just take your time. You don't have to rush through this process. And the more you go over it, the more smooth it's going to get, because you're going to just keep going over and over again to get this wrap perfectly on here. And see, like right here, this is a little bit thin, so I can kind of move some over here. Just go back and forth, just like so. And there we go. We've got one wrap done. It looks pretty good to me. And what I like to do at the end is add the sprinkles. So this is the everything but the bagel mix. The recipe is in the ebook, but it's basically just white and black sesame seeds, dried onion flakes, poppy seeds, and I like to put red pepper flakes and chives, dried chives or parsley in here as well. So that's really all it is. We just like it because it's salt-free, because most of the everything bagel seasoning on the market has salt in it, and we just try to avoid using straight salt. We use like miso, coconut aminos and stuff like that. That's fine, but the straight salt we try to avoid. So you can put as much sprinkles or no sprinkles, like you don't have to do the sprinkles. I just like it. It's nice for pictures, and it feels like you're eating kind of like a bun style. But here we go. This is wrap number 1. Sorry if I've missed your questions, everybody. I do apologize. Here we go. That's going in to the dehydrator, and we're gonna do wrap number 2. So this is the second wrap. Now, if I wasn't talking with you guys, this would take me to do both wraps, which is one recipe. It would take me probably 12 to 15 minutes to do all the chopping, the blending, the pouring, and the spreading. It's about 10 to 15 minutes. But I have this recipe memorized because I've made it like hundreds of times. So I just, it's like second nature. And that's a really good thing to note too, is the more you make a recipe, the easier it gets. When you first make a recipe, it might feel really overwhelming because you've got all these steps and all these ingredients and all this stuff. But every single time you make that recipe, it gets easier. Every single time you repeat something, it gets easier. Just like any habit is the same. The more we repeat it, the easier it gets. So just keep making them, and you'll become pro in no time. But don't be too hard on yourself if you're struggling in the beginning, or it feels awkward, or you don't know. Like, feel free to ask me questions if you don't know what's going on in the recipe. I'm here to help. That's like my life mission, is to help people eat more raw food. That's my whole purpose here. I really enjoy watching people eating more raw food. It just makes my heart so happy. Thank you everyone for all your kind words and for purchasing the bundle. It really helps Nate and I during this crazy time. Nate has been able to go to his parents because everyone's support. It helps him to be able to go and spend time with his family. And I'm here checking out, hanging out with the cats and keeping them alive and healthy and loved, keeping our plants alive and running the bundle. And like I've said many times before, like when we were dating, we were apart for, weeks and weeks at a time because we were a long distance. So this is like, it kind of, in a way, it's funny that it kind of reminds me of when we were dating, like we'll call each other, and it's really sweet, actually. I really am, finding the silver linings in everything that's happening. It's really teaching me how to look for the silver linings even more. Like, I already do naturally default to more silver linings, but in this time, like dealing with his parents' deaths and with the bundle and everything, like I'm feeling all kinds of different emotions all over the place, and they're all valid and they're all good. Like, I'm allowed to be excited about the bundle, but I'm also allowed to be, to cry and grieve and everything, which I have, which is really good. I'm going to bed early tonight, so that's going to be really nice. But yeah, so here we go. We've got this finished. What is the longest? Ooh, I want this question. What's this here? What's the longest you have left them on the tray before eating them? Great question. So earlier today I mentioned Nate and I have gone 1 to 2 weeks without using them. Sorry, I swallowed. Funny. So we go 1 to 2 weeks without filling them. But usually we recommend to eat them as soon as possible because that's when they're freshest. That's when they're, the nicest pliability and everything. The longer you let them sit, the more dry they get. They're still usable, but they aren't as awesome as when you first make them. But yeah, you can just leave them on the tray for 1 to 2 weeks. We just leave them kind of like this one, just like in the dehydrator. But we don't put the door on because moisture gets in there. You want to avoid moisture as much as you possibly can with these wraps because any extra moisture can start to grow mold. And some people have said, they left it in the dehydrator even for 2 days and they started to grow mold, but they live in a very humid area. Maybe they had the door on the dehydrator. So, any extra moisture kind of like lingers inside there. So you want airflow. Airflow is very important for dried food. So you want to make sure that you have good airflow. Thank you everyone for all your kind words and your prayers. We love you so, so, so much. Mwah, thank you. Your support by buying the bundle is so incredibly helpful for us. So if you did want to grab the bundle, you're not only supporting us, but you're supporting, most importantly, yourself by getting the bundle, because you get all these recipes. There's so many recipes. There's so many raw things. I think there's like 32 or something raw things in this bundle. There's vegan advocacy stuff. There's yoga. There's all kinds of stuff. You got to go check it out. I don't mind if you leave the live to go check out the bundle. Please do so. Link is in my bio or in the description box if you're watching on YouTube. Go check it out. Grab it. Come back. I'm just so grateful that I can hang out with you guys. I just got off the phone with Nate, and he had a really good day with his brother and sister today. You know, they went out and hung out together, which is the first time they've been out together in a long time, because there's always had to be somebody at home with their dad, you know, caring for him. They couldn't leave at the same time. So this was like the first day that they were able to go out together. And that was really cool. Yeah, Nate said they had a really good day today. So it's good. We're good. You know, life moves on, and we grieve, and we remember, and we find the silver linings, right? All right, here we go. Aw, plant-based old soul says, we're grateful you're here too. Thank you. I'm having so much fun with you guys. This is great. It's sad that the video doesn't pick up the blue. It really does. You'll see tomorrow. We're going to wrap these up tomorrow, and you'll be able to see how blue they are on video. It's a lot better. It's just like, it's so washed out, but it looks like the blue that's in here, which is really weird. It's so weird how that... You know, the blue tint is actually called phycocyanin. A little science tidbit here for you. Phycocyanin, that is the color of blue. So you've got anthocyanin, which is kind of the red-purple antioxidant pigment. And then the phycocyanin, this is the blue. And there is phycocyanin in red cabbage as well. So sometimes if you have pieces of red cabbage in your sink and you see little blue squiggles in the water, that's the phycocyanin in the red cabbage. So it's in there too. It's a really powerful antioxidant, and it's really fun. Would pay you to make me some. You make the wrap so perfect. That's another thing. It comes with, you know, the more you make them. I've made, if I had to guess, I've made well over 500 wraps since the wrap book was released in May. I've made them for friends and family. We've made them for traveling. I've made them for Nate to take on his trips. So I've made a lot of them, and you just get good the more you make them. So make more, and become pro. You'll get better at it. Just like anything. But yeah, are your ebooks for hard copies? Oh yes, I have hard copies of my ebooks. Not all of them, just the really popular ones like the wraps, the soup, the burgers, dips and dressings, and the meal plans. Those are available on Amazon. If you want the link for the Amazon print versions, send me a DM and I'll be happy to send you the link to all my ebooks on Amazon. I thought you were making paper, right? I know, it's interesting. It's so funny how I have a blue reel that's almost at like 10 million views on it, and the amount of people who say the wraps look like yoga mats is quite hilarious. Can we watch this tomorrow if we arrived late? Yes, all my lives are always saved on Instagram, unless there's like some glitch in the internet and it doesn't save. Usually it just saves in my Reels tab. So when you go to my main page, where the link is in my bio, if you go down, there's like a bunch of icons. One of them is the Reels icon. That's where all the videos go. So that's where all my Reels and my lives go to live. And they stay there. So you can just scroll through all the videos and you can watch these over and over again as long as you like. I'm also going to be uploading this to YouTube as well tonight. So that will be there. What dehydrator do you use? All right, so we have the Excalibur 9 tray. Model 3926TB. This dehydrator is neon pink, and they don't make these anymore. I bought this dehydrator over 8 years ago, so they don't make the pink one anymore. They used to have a blue one, the same color as the wraps too. But they don't make those anymore, sadly. But we do have the 3926. That's this one. It's a 3926. It's just, it was a special edition color. So that's the one we get. That's the one we recommend. Love the benefits with microbiome. Yes, these are massively good microbiome foods. And later tonight, I said I was going to post it earlier today, but I was way too busy with bundle stuff because I do customer support as well. So there's a lot going on for me. But the, what was I going to say? Yeah, what were you going to say? Let me see here. Oh, the microbiome. So I was going to post my video about my microbiome score earlier today, but I didn't get a chance to. So after this live, I'm going to post this live to YouTube, and I'm also going to finish editing my gut microbiome test results for January 2024. Those are in, and I want to share a little bit more about what's going on. But the psyllium and the onion and the garlic and the apple that's in these wraps are very beneficial to my gut microbiome and to most people's, because the pectin, the allicin, and the psyllium feed the good bacteria that we need more of, and they also help to get rid of some of the other ones, because I have a little high on there's a bacteria like methanobacteria or something like that, and onion and garlic kill that one off, but they feed the good bacteria. So I'm increasing my onion and garlic as well so I can get that further balanced. But it's going to be really cool to share that video. Don't even know there was a Reels tab. Yeah, there's a Reels tab. All the Reels and videos live in there. Your live is making your voice sound deep. Not sure why. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm leaving my wraps too long, but 2 of them are taking like 16 hours. That's totally fine. It depends on your humidity level of where you live. It depends on it depends on how many trays you have in the dehydrator. So sometimes you might have multiple trays going in your dehydrator and everything's going to take longer because there's more moisture going on. So the moisture level is going to affect dry time, and the more trays you have, the longer things are going to take. Now, it also depends on airflow and the size of your dehydrator. If you have a small dehydrator, there's less space for airflow, so things take longer. I've noticed it varies very for me as well. Some wraps take 10 hours, some wraps take 18 hours. There's no rhyme or reason, but just let them go until they're done, and you'll know, because you'll be able to push in the center, and if there's any like give or dimpling, just keep it in there, let it go until it's fully dry. And there's no right or wrong with when it's going to be dry, because everybody's location, humidity levels, tray usage, dehydrator, all of that's going to be different. As long as you're drying it at 115 Fahrenheit, you should be good to go. Just give it that time that it needs. All right, let's see. Do we have any other questions here? Does it help reduce candida? I believe it does. I believe it does. I believe that when you build your own microbiome, which is what happened to me, candida left on its own. I dealt with candida for 15 years of my life. I had all the classic symptoms. I had bladder and yeast infections all the time, like at least once every 2 months. I would have one or the other. And it was really annoying. And I had gut issues, like crazy gut dysbiosis, bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, all kinds of gut problems, acne, like crazy, hardcore cravings for sugary processed foods and breads. I had all of the classic symptoms, and I did countless cleanse kits and protocols and fasts and all kinds of stuff in my 20s to try and get rid of it. And my naturopath was trying to help me. I was on herbs and oregano oil and probiotics and all that kind of stuff. But it wasn't until I changed my diet, the foundation of what I was eating every day, and I went vegan and raw, I fed my own microbiome, and my microbiome grew to the point that it fought off the yeast for me, and I didn't have to do anything. It was just one day I was like, I don't have any of symptoms anymore. And it was so nice to realize that. So yeah, so thankful for your recipes. Your wraps are awesome. Thank you. You should slice all the fruits in the freezer for 3 months for smoothies, saving money. Yeah, that's a great way to save money for sure. We've got a lot of frozen fruit from our trips to LA and stuff with John. There's no such thing as a too dry wrap? Well, they can get quite dry. If you do let them go really long time, they do get over dry to an extent. And if you leave them without eating them for a long period of time, they can get a little bit too dry as well. In those cases, if they do feel a little too dry or they're too chewy because they were gone too long in the dehydrator, what I recommend is fill it, put the sauce on or the spread. I usually recommend a cashew cream cheese spread. Then you get your lettuce, your fillings. I would avoid things like tomatoes and pickles or sauerkraut, things that are really wet, like cucumbers as well. I would avoid those just because they're so watery, they can make the wrap a little soggy, just like a regular tortilla wrap. You want to avoid the wet stuff. But lettuce, cabbage, julienne carrots or red onions, that kind of thing. You can put that in there, roll it up, put it in some deli paper, put it in the fridge, and then let it sit for a few hours. Let it sit for a few hours or until the next day. It's best the next day. So especially like if Nate and I have some wraps that are kind of on the harder side, we just wrap them up and then let them sit in the fridge until the next day, and they're super nice and soft because the moisture, right? The moisture brings it back into the wrap so it gets a little softer that way. So yes, they can get too dry, but it's all good. All right, woohoo. Thank you so much for joining me today, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna get this into the dehydrator. And it's been a very, very busy day. I've had so much fun hanging out with everybody on the lives. And you are all so special to me. Thank you so much for all your love and support, and especially for grabbing the bundle. It helps us tremendously when you do, and it helps you tremendously because you get all the yummy stuff too. And you can make this recipe if you get the bundle. If you have my wraps book, you can make the everything but the bagel recipe, and you can use 2 teaspoons of the Terrasol blue spirulina or any other spirulina color you want to add to that. There's the green one, or you could use the butterfly pea blue flower stuff. I haven't tried that one. You could do pitaya powder too if you wanted a hot pink one. But this is the everything but the bagel recipe in the hand salads book, and I just added 2 teaspoons of the blue spirulina for it. So you can make it too. What are the blue ingredients? Did you just fight a yawn? I'm tired. I was up until like 2 in the morning almost dealing with bundle stuff back end to make sure everything went smoothly for all of you who buy the bundle. So there was a lot of back end stuff. I did the video for the main website, and arranging everything, arranging over 120 different contributors in one bundle event is a big job. So but I'm good. I'm going to definitely be going to bed early tonight, so it's going to be really nice. But yeah, the blue spirulina is this one, Terrasol. If you send me a DM, I can send you the link on Amazon. I don't mind doing that. Have you tried making the cheese with nuts instead of cashews? I have tried making the cheese with almonds and macadamia. It's just not the same. It's not the same. I did try making a cheese with sunflower seeds as well, and it turned out more like a hummus, which was really nice. It was really good, but it wasn't the same. It's just not the same. Cashews are so unique. What's the benefits of the pitaya? Antioxidants, nutrients, fun color. Pitaya is really great. So thank you, everybody. Again, I'm going to get this into the dehydrator. Go grab the bundle if you haven't already. The link is in my bio or in the description box below. And you can make some blue wraps too. I would love to see what everyone makes. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all the love and support. You mean the world to me. So I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to go to bed early. It's going to be a wonderful night. Mwah. I love you. I love you.